We gotta keep that same energy. We gotta keep that same energy. David Benavidez and Oleksandr Gvozdyk is pretty much being announced by the WBC president Mauricio Suleiman. David Benavidez is set to move up to 175 pounds next to fight Oleksandr Gvozdyk, and would put him in a mandatory position at 175 to fight the winner of Archer Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, while David Benavidez will still maintain his mandatory position at 168 pounds for Saul Canelo Alvarez. So David Benavidez is putting himself in position to literally be a mandatory in two divisions. A lot of people don't understand who this guy is, what is going on. Oleksandr Gvozdyk, this guy was a world champion. His only loss came against Archer Beterbiev. Archer Beterbiev stopped him, knocked him out. But other than that, Gvozdyk has shown that he's an excellent fighter, highly skilled. He's no longer in his prime at 36, but he's still an excellent fighter, and this is an excellent fight. I commend David Benavidez for taking this fight. This is a fight that I think David Benavidez could potentially lose, but if he wins, it propels him and makes a Canelo Alvarez fight that much bigger. I respect David Benavidez for creating his own lane, and at least trying to get a fight and build up his resume. I respect it. I think it's a great fight. I think it's extremely interesting. And 175 is naturally where Benavidez should be fighting anyway. I have no problem with the fight at all. I think it'll be an interesting fight. David Benavidez did not press the mandatory, but at the same time, if we're honest, I personally believe, listening to Mauricio Suleiman, seeing how the PBC works, and the fact that Benavidez does not make his own fight, it appears that a Canelo-Benavidez showdown would more than likely be for September. That's the way it appears to me. I don't know about anybody else. I don't see a duck between Benavidez or Canelo right now. I think both of these guys are doing their own thing, and as long as they meet in September, I have no problem with it. I think this is a great fight for David. Much respect to David Benavidez. Much respect. I got to keep the same energy. I'm not going to hate on the fight. I think the fight's a great matchup, and it's a very dangerous fight for David Benavidez. He can show me a lot in this fight by fighting and beating a guy like Gvozdyk. Now, Gvozdyk is no easy opponent. He could mess up this whole thing and win this fight against Benavidez. He is highly skilled. He is dangerous, and he's a natural 175-pound fighter. So make no mistake, this is an excellent fight. Salute to my brother, Black and Brown Boxing. This is for the real boxing fans. This is for the real boxing fans. A lot of guys aren't boxing fans. A lot of guys are fanboys. A lot of this is going on. We got to keep the same energy. I'm going to give you an example. So Miguel Mojica, this guy has been on my channel for a long time, years now, and he says Canelo not fighting Benavidez in September. Yet he has no knowledge, he has no understanding, and does not know what's going on. If you're not in the PBC, Eddie Reynoso or Canelo circle, and you're saying that he's not fighting him in September, you don't know shit. And I hate to say that, and I hate to make you look stupid, but that's how you look. You look like a meat eater. You look like you're holding nuts, and I don't understand how you can be so confident in saying it's not going to happen in September when Eddie Reynoso literally just came out and said Benavidez is an option for 2024. That's a possibility for this year. Literally, he said that. So I don't know what these guys are doing. These guys are not boxing fans. They want to push a narrative. They want to promote a narrative, but it don't make any sense. It really don't. Because we got to keep the same energy, and that's all we're going to do. If anybody want to jump in the chat, feel free. We can get it in. I mean, look, let me go. Let me get into this. Cosmic Creation says, what if Benavidez loses the fight? Now, this is the funny part. If Benavidez loses the fight, he doesn't lose anything at 168. At 175, he just simply won't be the mandatory for the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev. He won't. But he could still hold a position at 168. I doubt Canelo would fight him coming off of a loss. I think he would need to get a tune-up and redeem himself and then turn around, and he could probably fight Canelo at that point. But right now, this is a dangerous fight for Benavidez. A lot of guys think that Benavidez runs through everybody. I think this is a very challenging fight, and I respect him for taking his fight. There's no hate from me. None. None. You can save all the drama for your mama. I'm going to keep it $1.50 and some change. There's no hate. There's no hate. Literally no hate at all. And the fact that you can potentially be a mandatory for better BF or Bivol, I got to give you respect for that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got to give you respect for that. And you're in line for Canelo. You're in line for better BF Bivol winner. You're in line for everybody. I have no problem with that. So anybody hating on this move clearly has an agenda they're pushing. I'm not pushing an agenda. I'm not. I'm just keeping it $1.50 with you and some change. Benavidez is moving up to 175, fight a former world champion, Oleksandr Gvozdyk, in June for the WBC interim belt and a mandatory position for the Bivol versus Better BF winner. This was announced by the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman. So I have no problem with this. I have none. I don't understand why anybody is mad. This is a dangerous fight for Benavidez, a fight in which he could lose. It's a fight he can lose. That's it. This is it. Exactly. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Paul. I agree with you 1,000%. I agree with you 1,000%. This will definitely make a Canelo versus David Benavidez fight significantly bigger. Why? Why? David Benavidez comes off an incredible win against Gvozdyk. Imagine if he stopped Gvozdyk. The only guy that ever stopped him was Better BF. And he's shown that he could do it at 175 against a legitimate 175-pound fighter, not no blown up 160, none of that. He's really shown you what he can do. And David is coming back down to 68 if he wins this fight to line up a Canelo fight if that's on the table. So yes, David is willing to come back to 168. This is just a one-off fight for David because he's not fighting Canelo in May. That's all this is. That's all this is. That's all this is. According to Jake Donovan with Boxing Scene in the Ring magazine, he said this is a contingency plan to face Oleksandr Gvozdyk if he doesn't land the Canelo fight for his next fight. This mentions nothing about September, only for May. So we got to keep it the same. This is only for May. This is only if I can't get the Canelo fight in May, I'm willing to go ahead and get this smoke in at 175. And for Benavidez, it makes a lot of sense. You can put a big name on your resume. Gvozdyk's a great name to have, a talented, skilled fighter. And it's easier to make weight to just go to 175 rather than 168. It makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. I have no problem with the fight. I think it's a great fight. I think he could have took a much easier fight than this. And the fact that he's looking at that, I like it. I like it. I think it's a great move. And it's also a dangerous fight for David because there's no guarantee that he wins that fight. No guarantee. No guarantee. Adam Hurley said, yeah, right. David didn't force Canelo to fight him because he wants Canelo to decide that himself. Exactly. But at the same time, David doesn't make those decisions. You got to understand, David Benavidez's father, Jose Benavidez Sr., said out of his own mouth that we don't make our own fights. Al Heyman does. So if Al Heyman makes up and sets up all of your fights, he's not pushing Benavidez for next. Al Heyman is not trying to make that fight next. You got to be honest. The fight's a bigger fight in September. If him and Canelo get a great win in May and June, then you can set that up for an even bigger fight. And I respect David for at least trying to add to his own legacy. See, now he got Plant. Now he got Andrade. Now he can add a guy like Gvozdyk. He just keeps adding to it. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it. That's all I'm saying. I think it's an excellent fight. I think it makes sense. If he's not getting Canelo next, I'd rather see him fight this guy than another David Lemieux. I would much rather see this. And it's actually a winnable fight for Gvozdyk. So the fact that he's involved in a fight that he could lose, I like it. I like it. The Tomato Head One, salute to you, my brother. He says, salute. It's going to be a great fight. I like that Benavidez is keeping busy, not like these other guys that go a year without fighting. And I agree with that 100%. I think being an active fighter, not wasting all of these great developmental years to help make you better, to help add to your legacy is a big deal. He's already adding names on his resume. He's already putting in work. So I respect David Benavidez tremendously for this. I literally have no hate. There's some people want me to hate. I can't hate on it. There's nothing to hate. This is a great fight. Now, is this a fight that Benavidez can lose? Absolutely. Absolutely, this is a fight. I believe this fight sets up Canelo. To my understanding, Gvozdyk is trained by Eddie Reynoso. He trains out of the Reynoso gym. He's always under the Canelo team, Canelo banner. So to my understanding, if all of that still remains true, this is a connection and is likely to lead into a Canelo fight in May. That just seems to be my opinion from based on what I'm seeing. That's all I'm saying. I think it's a great fight. I think it makes sense. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. My brother, the people's eyebrow is in the building. My brother says, bet if he loses or looks bad, they won't call this a cherry pick. Why fight for a Fugazi belt when he had his shot against a real belt versus better BF? And I agree 100% on that. I mean, yes, David Benavidez had a chance to get a real title shot against Archer Better BF. When he missed weight, they ranked him #1 at 175 pounds. But we know why. David Sampson and his team wanted no parts of Better BF because they were looking for a Canelo payday. They did not want to rush into no fight with Archer Better BF. They ran away from that smoke. I completely understand it. I mean, if he was dropped by a journeyman, I can definitely understand him wanting no parts of Archer Better BF. Now Archer Better BF is a little bit older. Now you see Dimitri Bivol going 12 rounds with a guy with no power and a suspect chin. You see that David is like weighing his options now. Like maybe I should, try to force a mandatory position at 175 instead of just waiting on a Canelo fight. In my opinion, I think this is going to lead to the Canelo fight in September. It's all lining up. Gvozdyk is with Team Canelo. David Benavidez and his team don't dictate their own fights. The PBC does. This all lines up perfectly for me. It all lines up perfectly for me. Dre, look at Dre got a Tim Bradley picture with a helmet. He said David Benavidez ducked that Canelo smoke. Salute to you, my brother. I don't think it's a duck, but I respect your opinion and anybody who does. I think him and Canelo got something going on with the PBC and Al Heyman. That's why everybody's so quiet. I think they're really trying to build up the fight. But if you believe it's a duck, salute to you. I just don't see anybody ducking on either side. I think a lot of people like to use that duck word on Canelo too much. I think they try to use that duck word on, anybody. It's just used all the time. Oh, he ducking. They ducking. Canelo ducking. Benavidez. I don't think this is a duck. I think that this is a situation where this sets up for a bigger fight in September. If no fight happens in September, then we can evaluate what happened here. Why didn't the fight happen? What's going on? Who's really ducking? What's really happening? My brother's Onslaught official link. I got a prediction. Let me know. Nuke salute. Yes, drop the link. I'm going to drop it again. I see you back here. Onslaught, I'm going to let you get your prediction in right now. I got to get to my brother Melvin Bailey real quick, and we'll get that in. My brother Melvin Bailey, salute to you. He dropped something, and he said, this is good for Benavidez to bolster his resume and make the Canelo fight that much bigger. I think this helps his resume. I think it gives him legitimate credibility, and it puts him in a mandatory spot. I have no problem with this. I respect this both ways. Salute to my brother Melvin Bailey in the building. And it really does. Absolutely. This is it. It's all a part of the plan. My brother Louis, 23_LA. It's all a part of the plan. If you're just dropping in, let me break it down as to what's going on so you're aware of what's happening right now. And this is what's going on. David Benavidez is set to move up to light heavyweight for his next fight and will face Oleksandr Gvozdyk, the former world champion at 175 in June for the WBC interim belt. The WBC mandatory position for the Dimitri Bivol and Archer Better BF winner will be on the line. This is all according to Mauricio Suleiman. So we have to understand, look, I don't know, but I think this is an interesting fight. I think it's a great fight, and I really want to see it. I think it's a winnable fight for Gvozdyk as it is for Benavidez. I think either guy can win this fight. This is according to The Ring. This is according to Michael Benson and Talk Sports as well. So that's the source. It's not me. It's The Ring magazine, Jake Donovan, and Michael Benson with Talk Sport. So those are your sources. You know, I'm not a guy that'd be like, nah, it's a fake source. Now, I'm gonna give you the real source. My brother said, I heard Canelo fighting Berlanga in May and Charlo in September. Fake news. Link on Onslaught Official. What's your
Yo,
prediction?
you can hear
Salute.
me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, man. I got two predictions though. I just heard about this Gvozdyk news. I just was about to predict the Canelo fight, but I'll give you both.
Go for it.
Yeah. So first for Canelo and Benavidez, I think it's a good fight. My opinion is that Canelo will knock Benavidez out in the later rounds.
I like that. And do you think what's going to set up the shot? Is Benavidez going to have problems? Is Canelo going to have problems? Is it going to be a close fight until the knockout? How do you see that knockout coming about?
Well, the main reason I say Canelo KOs Benavidez has nothing to do with them personally. It's just that Canelo is an elite counterpuncher, and Benavidez has poor footwork, and we've seen him get knocked down, by a journeyman, and he got counterpunched. And it works good against somebody like Demetrius Andrade or Caleb Plant because he could put pressure on them. They're not very good counterpunchers, nor do they have a lot of power. But this is the first time he's going to fight somebody who has a lot of power and is a good counterpuncher. And I think, he's going to try to corner Canelo and throw a bunch of punches, and Canelo's just going to hit him with something that he doesn't see, and he's going to get dropped.
That's true. That's true. That's a good one. What's your second prediction on here?
Yeah, for Benavidez and Gvozdyk, I think that's a good fight. It can go either way. I mean, I'm kind of split on that one. I would say Gvozdyk by a 12-round decision or Benavidez by a late KO, one of those two.
Okay.
It could probably look like the better BF fight.
What happens if David Benavidez gets in trouble in the Gvozdyk fight? Let's say he gets dropped or something. Do you think he can stop Gvozdyk in the later rounds? Gvozdyk's already been stopped by better BF, but that guy is probably the hardest puncher in boxing. So you can take that with a grain of salt.
I agree. I wouldn't really compare better BF and Benavidez at this point. I think if he got in trouble against Gvozdyk, I think he'll lose that fight, just flat out. I mean, I wouldn't compare him and better BF at this point.
And here's another thing about Gvozdyk that people don't understand. His footwork's on point, defense on point, IQ's on point. A guy like, better BF stopping, and people look at it and just act like it's nothing. But, Gvozdyk is a serious boxer. And so I think that's what makes this fight so intriguing to me. And, Andrade's always hyped as a guy who got skills, but ain't never proved it. Gvozdyk's already proved it. He already got the ability. So this is a very, very dangerous fight, and it's at 175 against a natural 175 pounder. So I think that's what makes this fight so interesting for me.
I agree. I was very impressed when Better BF knocked out Gvozdyk. Gvozdyk is extremely skilled. He's not the same as Andrade. And, this is definitely a step up for Benavidez. I'll be very impressed if Benavidez beats Gvozdyk, let alone stops him. And I think it sets up the Canelo fight even more. I do believe that PBC is setting it up for September. And I think that's a smart business decision. It could be very good if Benavidez beats Gvozdyk. So, yeah,
absolutely. And is there anything else you want to add on this, or do you think Benavidez? I think that this is a part of the plan. You agree with me on that you believe that the future on this is lining them up for a fight in September, likely.
Absolutely. Canelo signed a 3-fight deal. PBC is not stupid. They're setting it up for September most likely. And I think that this is the best way to do it, honestly. Benavidez is just going to continue to grow himself. And Canelo, obviously, he's the face of boxing. Put them two together in September, it's going to do well over 1 million pay-per-view buys, in my opinion.
I agree. I think so as well. Thanks for jumping on, my brother. Salute.
Appreciate it, man. Salute.
All right. Prime Time, my brother Prime Time said it looks like Canelo Munguia in May. And I think that's the best fight. Canelo Munguia, Benavidez, Gvozdyk. I think those are the fights that we need. I think those are the fights that make sense. I think that this is what everybody needs to see right now. I think this makes sense. Both of these are great fights, and it's going to do is build up to a bigger fight in September. That's all this is doing, is building up to a much bigger fight in September. I don't have no hate for this fight. I think it makes sense. And Benavidez is going to have a lot of issues with Gvozdyk. Gvozdyk can box, he can move, he can punch, he can bang, he can do a lot. He's going to probably be the most complete fighter that David Benavidez has ever fought. He's an ex-world champion. He's a natural 175-pound fighter. This is a dangerous fight for David Benavidez. My brother Nick Harmon, El Basic El Benavidez, will have his hands full with Gvozdyk. Absolutely. If you know boxing, you know that this is no easy task. You know that Gvozdyk comes to fight, and this will be a great, great fight. I do believe that Gvozdyk is good. That's it. That's it. Let me see if there's any updates on this, because this is what I really want to see. I think it makes all the sense in the world. That's really what it is. I respect this. My brother Gus C said, I respect any fighter that carves out their own legacy. So, and that's one thing I do like. You know, David Benavidez is not sitting around waiting around, not putting in no work. He's willing to do something. He's willing to put in some work. He's willing to give it a chance. And the fact that he's taking a dangerous fight like Gvozdyk for him, because we've seen David Benavidez is limited in footwork, limited in defense. His power is still not really proven because he fought a guy with a pillow chin in Demetrius Andre. Demetrius Andre been dropped by Journeyman, has no power, and had never stepped up. He was really a hype job. So this is really going to show us a lot about who David Benavidez is. This fight, all of those guys that were nut riding Demetrius Andre, oh, that's going to prove this, that's going to prove. Andrade was a hype job that proves nothing. Gvozdyk is a much more dangerous opponent than Demetrius Andre ever was. Let me just be honest. The Tomato Head 1 says, I just hope people don't start saying Benavidez is weight drained if he fights Canelo. People are going to always look for some excuse to hate. Those guys are not boxing fans. Those guys are meat riders. Those guys are meat lovers. Those guys swing from a sack of nuts. Those guys are not true boxing fans. A real true boxing fan can appreciate what's happening in the ring. True boxing fans can respect what's happening in the ring. This is a dangerous fight for Benavidez, one that he can definitely lose. We just got to be honest about it. Now, look, that's really what it is. And I think Canelo fighting Munguia at this point where Munguia has already shown that he's made a lot of improvements, I think this would be great. I think this is a great fight. I think it's a great fight. Salute.
Yo, Nuke, what's up, man? It's Black and Brown.
What's good, my brother from another mother? Talk to me. I know you got some heat for us, man.
Man, this is what I've been asking for, man. I've been asking for dudes to make a move in the sport, stop on Canelo, and make their own legacy, and I couldn't be more excited, man. I love that Mauricio Suleiman is allowing him to stay as the #1 mandatory in both weight classes. I think he wins this fight. I think he makes a statement, and like you said, either way, it sets up a huge fight in September or next May, or it lines him up for the winner of the Better Be a Bivol fight. And at the end of the day, as a boxing fan, I want to see Benavidez succeed, either with Canelo or without him. And a fight like this is pound for pound movement. This is how a pound for pound fighter is supposed to move. And fights like this is going to get him on the pound for pound list, either with Canelo or without him. I couldn't be more excited, man. I'm so fucking happy that he's doing this. I was getting so tired and burnt out of the Canelo Alvarez talk, and we needed something like this. David needed something like this. All you David Benavidez fans, you should be so fucking excited, man. You should be so happy because your boy is making moves without Canelo Alvarez, man.
Absolutely. I agree 1,000%. See, at the end of the day, what these guys don't understand is that as a boxing fan, that should come before anything. It should come before, oh, this guy's my favorite. This is Benavidez's chance to prove that, hey, I'm that dude. I'm that dude, and I'm not going to wait on Canelo to do shit. So I'm going to be great with or without him. And it's going to be up to Canelo to say, hey, this fight got to happen in September. This guy's making too much noise. I got to go put this guy down. That's how you get the best fights. You got to make legacy moves. And this, to me, was a legacy move. Benavidez is definitely letting his nuts hang on this one, and I respect him tremendously. I think this fight, in my opinion, Black, is going to be more. It's going to mean more than the Andrade fight, than the Plant fight, because this is a much more skilled fighter at a higher weight class.
I agree, man. I'm happy for him. And if Canelo never wants to fight him, oh well, you're lined up to fight the winner of Bivol and Better Be and going undisputed or becoming a champion in light heavyweight. And that's your second division you'll be a champion in. He was already a 2-time champion at 168. So if he never gets a shot at Canelo, oh well, now you get the shot at being a champion at 175 at like the light heavyweight division. And I'm just happy for David Benavidez, and I'm happy to be a boxing fan, man. Because, like I said, Nuke, I was getting a little burnt out on the Canelo Alvarez talk. Who's he fighting? He's ducking David. And I was thinking to myself, hey, man, everyone just needs to move on, man. Like, what are we gonna do? Just sit here and make the sport all about Canelo? I tell you that all the time, Nuke. The boxing fans, they make this sport the sport of Canelo Alvarez when it needs to be the sport of boxing. And everybody needs to get involved. Everybody needs to create their own legacy. And I'm just happy for this news. I hope it comes to fruition, and I hope it's true, man. But hey, I'm on the road, Nuke. Keep up the good work, and I'll listen to you later, man.
Salute, family. Go get you some cheeks, my brother. Salute.
Yes, sir.
Look, I'm gonna be 100% honest and in agreement with my brother, and the reason why is everybody keeps coming out. All you see is on Twitter and Instagram and all of this crap. Oh, Canelo's ducking this guy. Canelo's ducking. If we held Canelo to this very high standard, then hold the same standard for Benavidez. Hold the same standard for Bud Crawford. Hold the same standard for Devin Haney. But nobody else is held to any standards. Tank Davis can cherry pick his whole life away. So my whole thing is, if we hold everybody to the same standards, we can get great fights. And this is an excellent fight. This is a very dangerous fight for David Benavidez. I don't think that he runs through Gvozdyk. I think that this is a dangerous fight. I think it's literally a 50-50 fight. And this is the type of fight where I'm actually going to learn, is David Benavidez really that guy? Or is he just talking like he's that guy? Because he fought two guys with pillow fists and Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andre. He fought two guys who didn't have the best chins in Caleb Plant and Demetrius Andre, and we praised him for it. Let's see him move up to 175 and do what he did to Demetrius Andre, to Oleksandr Gvozdyk. Then he gets that respect, because I really appreciate him moving up in weight, taking a highly skilled fighter like Gvozdyk. This is going to show me a lot. It's going to really show me a lot. Salute to my brother kid in the building.
Wow. What a fight this is going to be.
This is going to be a great fight. I got all you guys on here. Boxeo, I think the guy's name, your Poppy, and Hick Kid, whoever wants to go first.
Hey, what's going on, Nuke? Hey, real quick, just want to go first real quick because I got to go back to work, but just want to let you know you're doing a good job, brother. And hey, Benavidez is doing his legacy like he's supposed to. He's not waiting on that Canelo sweepstakes, like you mentioned many times before. And long story short, man, he's doing what he's got to do to build up his name and to make things happen with Canelo eventually. I think Benavidez is going to beat Gvozdyk later in the rounds. But that doesn't take anything away from old boy Gvozdyk, because he's durable and tenacious. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and that's a huge statement for Benavidez. If he stops this guy late, that he can't be denied. He can't be denied.
Right. Exactly. So just on that note, one more thing too, bro, is these other boxers, man, that really gets my grinds going, brother, is that freaking Charlo and Gervonta Stank Davis, all these black narrative channels, man. They don't even critique these guys, man, for real. Like if Charlo's out there for 2 years, they don't talk about nothing about his problems and what he needs to do as a boxer, as a professional. You know what I mean? Like Blue Blood and all them suckers, you know. And it gets me because it's like they like to put narratives on other ethnicities, but when it comes to their own people, they don't want to do it, you know. And it's got to be fair and impartial, you know, and they don't want to do that. So that's very unfortunate. And I'm glad that you're exposing all these narrative channels, and you got to keep up the good work, brother, because you can't let this slide. You know, they won't let it slide if it was the other way around, but they're letting it slide because they got the narratives going, you know, and you got to expose those bastards, you know. So much love to you, brother. I'm gonna get off the channel. But just keep doing the good work, man. And I hope you go and debate this freaking Blue Blood or other channels that don't deserve to be in the YouTube community. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. And I'll say this one thing before you get off, is that I'm welcome to any of these channels to debate me anytime, day or night, whatever. Just let me know and I'll drop that link for you. I'm always available. If they feeling froggy, they can jump. But trust me, they will never find their nuts.
So that's the truth.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, guys. Hey, much love, guys.
All right. So
Have a good night.
I just wanted to say, so he's gonna fight. Benavidez gonna fight a former sparring of Canelo.
Yes.
You guys know that? You guys
Yes.
didn't know that?
Yes, that's his former sparring partner. He helped him get ready for Bivol. Yes, Gvozdyk is very heavily involved in the Canelo Alvarez camp.
Okay, so it's gonna be a good fight. I don't have a favorite favorite, but it's gonna be a good fight. So I think in December it's gonna be a fight between Canelo and Benavides. I think so. Maybe that's what I think. So
I agree. I agree. This is
I just
lining
want
up the Canelo Benavidez fight for September. This makes all the sense in the world. And if Canelo wins, he can go fight the winner of Better BF Bivol and really jump to the front of the line at 175. It all makes sense.
yeah, because I
I
don't
love
know.
this fight. I'm going
I
to say
don't
that.
know why so many people doubt Canelo. He has like 20 champions in his resume, and the other champions don't have no of their own, like a resume of their own. They only think about Canelo. There's another world beside Canelo. They could do their own legacy, fighting each other, whatever. But they're so like um, dependent on Canelo, and I think that's really wrong for boxing for those guys because Canelo already invests. Since he was 15, he was fighting old guys, and he was so young at that age. So he made a lot of experience by fighting those 30-year-old guys, and he was 15 years old. So that make him he was like mentally strong for the uh, I I think my English is not so good. Okay, I'm from Mexico. I live in Mexico, but I try to pronounce my English as fluent as I can. But I think a lot of people are wrong about Canelo. I think Canelo is the most. He's the only guy doing legacy right now. The other boxers, I guess, are like too. I don't know. I don't have the word, but like there are two
The English word for it is
comfortable.
coochie.
I don't know how to say, but
I about safe.
The English word is
Safe
coochie. The Spanish word is panocha. These guys, they don't really want to step up and do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
That's like he was saying. Jamal Charlo can miss 2 years and no one gives a damn. But Canelo, he needs to rest his hand, and they're all pissed off.
Like you said one thing. You remind me about Charlo right now. They say Canelo don't defend their belt, but if you see PBC, if you say the two Charlos, one with 2 years and 3 months, the other one like a year and 3 months, and Erislandi Lara, and that's if you see they are like we call it they don't defend their belts. That if you add all that up, it's around three different class weights, and they don't defend their belt. So that's really bad. That's like we call it over here secuestro de cinturones. That it's like a hijack of belts. That's how you said in English. That's how you said. But I think those guys are the really hijackers of the belts, not Canelo. Canelo fights at least 3 times a year, or two. Right now at this age, she's fighting like 2 times a year. But that's the thing that people don't notice, that the other guys don't defend their belts, and there are other people that could. I don't know. It's bad for boxing if you don't fight a lot. That's the only thing I want to say.
Oh, I agree with that too, because I mean, at the end of the day, we got to keep the same standard for Canelo like we do everybody else. They
Exactly.
put Canelo up on this pedestal like, oh, he has to fight everybody, he has to do everything, and nobody else has to do anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then they say that,
The same manager.
Yeah, and then they quick to throw out ducking. Every 5 minutes, he's ducking this guy. He's ducking that guy. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He fought Bivol. He's undersized. He's 5'8", fighting at 168. He's undersized. He give up height and reach. And weight
Yeah.
to everybody he fights.
High reach and weight. And weight, too. Yeah.
And that's my whole thing is like, can we just show the same energy for everybody else? Because I don't know any other fighter giving all of that up every single fight that they fight. Some guys is always the bigger guy. Look at Floyd when he fought. I cannot remember a fight where he didn't have a reach advantage, where he didn't have a speed advantage. This guy's very strategic. Every fight.
And the fights he was 50-50 in, let's make this clear. The one fight which was, I'd say his most 50-50 fights, he fucking lost them. I mean, I still say it to this day that De La Hoya got robbed against Floyd.
Well,
Floyd that was a robbery. And he lost to the one Luis Castillo. He lost to Castillo. He lost that fight.
The first fight with Luis Castillo, he clearly lost that fight. And everybody always want to say, "Oh, Canelo Triple G1 was a robbery." Why is nobody talking about Castillo Mayweather? Why is nobody talking about Lord Kovalev?
Listen, I'm an advocate of, Golovkin, because everyone knows Golovkin won that first fight, but Lord Kovalev, both of those fights you could say were robberies. I mean, he fucking blowed him in the second fight, and the first fight was egregious.
Yeah, he was playing the nutcracker in this.
For one of the worst decisions in boxing modern history.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man. Hold on. We got Mike in the building. Mike, talk to us. Mike, are you there? It looks like Mike is not on the line. Somebody said they believe Floyd lost to Maidana as well. I guess my whole thing is, if we just going to keep it a $150 and some change, Canelo Alvarez putting in work. I respect what David Benavidez is doing right now because it's a good fight, and I'm not going to hate on it just because some people want to hate. I'm not going to do that, just like I'm not going to hate on Canelo Alvarez because some people want to hate. Until they start talking about Jamal Charlo taking 2 years off, until they start talking about Deontay Wilder being a hype job, until they start talking about Tank Davis cherry picking, you don't mention David Benavidez or Canelo to me because Tank Davis shouldn't be cherry picking every fight, but want to say you the face of boxing. That don't make any sense. That man is the biggest cherry picker in the damn sport. There's no reason he should not be fighting a Teofimo. He shouldn't be fighting a Shakur Stevenson, a Devin Haney, any of those names. What the hell is he doing with himself? Playing with his ass? We got to keep the same energy.
Yeah. Be interesting to see who he cherry picks next.
I know, man. And look, this is a great fight. Oh, and Boxeo, what is your prediction for the Benavidez-Gvozdyk fight?
Right now, I don't have a prediction, but I have to see. I like to see the two boxers when they train. I go to their channels or whatever, or Instagram or X, whatever. Not Instagram, X, and
Twitter,
and see and see their their process of training, and then I decide. But like Benavidez has Memo Heredia. That's for me. That's like a plus. That's a plus for me. Memo Heredia. I've been following him since the longest. So, and it depends when the boxer is like really responsible. And I think right now Benavidez is being really responsible. I'm gonna go a little bit right now to Benavidez without seeing all videos of their training and all that. But I go with Benavidez right now.
By stoppage or decision, if you were just had to,
let's say, I'm gonna go for a decision, good decision, not so easy,
Just a good competitive fight.
But I'm just answering this because you tell me right now. I don't like to say it, but just by thinking right now, maybe because I haven't seen the other guy box since. What was the last time he boxed?
He's been active over the last year. So he just had 2 or 3 fights, I believe. He just fought in September. Was his very last fight. So he fought in September, and prior to that, he had fought in May, and prior to that, he had fought in February. So he had 3 fights last year.
3 fights. Oh well, he's not so far.
He's not inactive, which is crucial.
Okay, so well, I'm gonna go with Benavidez right now.
Okay, cool. Let's see what everybody else got. My brother in the building, Carlos Hernandez. Talk to us, man. What do you think about the fight? Who do you got? Talk to me.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going
well.
I don't know. That's official. The fight. I didn't.
Yeah,
the fight is official.
They're saying right now, according to Mauricio Suleiman, saying that they petitioned for this fight, and he's giving them approval for this fight. So it appears, according to everybody, that they're saying that this is likely the next fight if he doesn't fight Canelo. So it's not an official announcement, but it's as close as you're going to get.
All right, I got you. As far as I remember, Gvozdyk, the only loss is against Benavidez, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, and then he got retired after that fight, and then he came back last year, right?
Yes, and he had 3 fights last year, won them all.
Yeah. Look, if David Benavidez want to prove that he's a real deal, this is gonna be a good test because
Really
Bosnick is a good fighter, and he already have 3 fights. So that means it doesn't have any ring rust. So that means it's not gonna be as easy as the people think. Bosnick is not a small fighter. It's gonna. I don't know if they are the same size. I think are the same size. So Benavides is not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna walk through this guy like he walked through the other guys. So
is.
Bosnick have a decent power. I mean, it's not like better BF, but it's not like Dimitri Andre.
Exactly. It's good pop, and he's a natural 175 pounder. And not only that, I mean, his last 2 fights he had stoppages. And so I think Gvozdyk has just really got into a good rhythm. I remember when Andre Ward moved up, I think he had 2 tune-ups hit kid before he
Yeah,
fought Kovalev. And so, the fact that Gvozdyk came back, he got 3 tune-ups in. The guy really wanted a big fight, and he finally got it. And I think this is good. His footwork is dangerous. And I don't know what
this is good for
Benavidez is going to do.
boxing.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, how do you think Benavidez will perform at 175? Do you think he'll be stronger? You think he'll be slower? What do you think about that, Carlos?
I think okay. I know last fight he came in 190 something, right?
Benavidez, that was Andrade came in 190 something. They did not reveal Benavidez fight night weight.
But it looked
Probably
like it been
he was
around 190
bigger than
something, right?
Andrade.
I mean,
He was probably like
Yeah,
195.
he looked like he was likely around the same.
I
so
was
I,
ex-
I think I think if he doesn't cut much weight, I mean, it can look better. But in the same time, like I said before, Bosnick is not a small dude, so he don't gonna bully like the other guys. Look, I mean, obviously I'm Mexican, right? And I love Benavides. But I have a little issue with Benavides. Everyone. I know I'm gonna give a little bit out of the Bosnick and the Benavides fight. Everyone try to crucify Canelo because they say he's ducking Benavides, right? And myself, sometimes I say, why he doesn't fight this guy now? But I understand. Then it's been before the last 2 years. It was 5 years. Then Benavides get the title, and he have title. Caleb Plant have a title. Uh, Billy Joe Saunders have a title. Callum Smith have a title, and he never tried to fight none of those guys.
Yep.
And they want just Canelo to, oh, he's ducking me. Okay, if you fight Caleb Plant, it wasn't the same company. They were in the same company. You already have 2 titles. If
That
you fight Callum Smith when you have a chance, when they say Callum Smith is a #1 contender, I mean the champion, the lineal champion, why he doesn't try to fight? When he lost the belt on the scale because he doesn't make weight, they put him as a the #1 to fight better BF. And what did he say? No, I'm not a 170 pounder. No, it's not 75 pounder. I'm a 168 pounder. And he dropped back again. So for me, it's like this is the only that I see Benavidez like, okay, you say, oh, you fight David Lemieux. David Lemieux got stopped by Triple G many years ago when he was better fighter. You
exactly.
you get Caleb Plant. You get Caleb Plant. And Caleb Plant, he was knocked down, I mean, knockout by Canelo Alvarez. And then you
Exactly.
get Andre, who never have a fight with a world champion.
Yep.
So they hype him much too. To me, personal opinion, too much. I think this is gonna be better uh opposition than I mean, Caleb Plant was a good fight. Caleb Plant is a good fighter, but I think between Caleb Plant and this one, I think it's gonna be the 2 fights that I can say, all right, he already fight 2 good fighters. Okay, he have a chance with Canelo.
And
But
this one, and you also got to think about it. This is how I know the Canelo fight is likely in September. And this is why. Not only is Gvozdyk out of Canelo's camp essentially, but not only that, you see that a guy taking his toughest test to date, he's going to do that right before he gets the biggest prize available, and that's Canelo. You take those big tests right before you get those big fights. I mean, Hit Kid, would
yep.
you agree with that?
I
Yep.
totally agree. I
Oh,
love this
sorry,
fight.
sorry.
I think massive kudos to Benavides. This is a great fight between him and Gvozdyk. Winner. This also makes Canelo Benavides huge in September because I think Canelo's probably fighting Munguia in May, and I back Canelo in that fight quite convincingly. But what you've got here in, let's say in September is this. You've got the undisputed at 168, should Canelo, win in May. Yeah. If Benavides gets through, you've then got a mandatory shot for the winner of Bivol Beterbiev as well in this fight. You've got two Mexican superstars. We're talking huge dollar gate, in like say Vegas and all that. Or even, like Texas and all. We're talking, we could potentially be talking a stadium fight here. I know everyone's saying MGM Grand and all that. We could be talking a stadium fight here.
Oh, that would be huge.
Like, in not the MGM Grand, but Algeria, Raiders Stadium.
Yeah.
We could be talking stadium fight levels here. That's why this is great.
Yeah, they were talking about Allegiant Stadium, and I think Canelo Benavides would be perfect for that. It would make sense.
I think it sells out.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think they could do 1 million buys, and that's why they want to build it up even a little bit more. You don't really want it to be this quick. Let's save it to the end of the year, let it build up, let everybody talk about it for the rest of the year, and then we get to September, and it's a fantastic fight. And it's obviously would be the last fight on Canelo's deal. If it's a close fight or anything like that, you can do the rematch next May.
I have a question. Do you guys think if everything happens like we're thinking right now, that Benavides fights the Ukrainian guy and Canelo fights another, I don't know who he's gonna fight right now, but you think Canelo will fight Benavides in 175 or he's gonna come down to 168?
If for Benavides to fight Canelo at 175 don't make sense. The whole reason Benavides is supposed to want the Canelo fight is to go undisputed. So if
because of the belt.
Yeah, I want to fight him at 168.
Yeah,
I want to be the king of this division, and I want to get all those belts and say I'm undisputed. If you're fighting him at 175, what do you win? Even if you win the fight, you don't get any belts, you don't get anything but that, and Canelo's still undisputed. It makes sense for Benavides to go back down and get that.
I'm gonna have to go in a couple of minutes. So sorry I can't stay on longer tonight. I've got to be going. But let me explain this. He has to fight him at 168 because, in a sense, it could be a passing of the torch if Benavides beats Canelo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Legitimately, that's what it could be. It could be a passing of the torch, which a lot of Benavides fans have been saying has been due. But I think Canelo will piece Benavides up. That's just my, prediction on the fight. But it's a mega fight. It like you could have having a 168 for all the belts, but also have the 175, title shot, which if Benavides, wins this fight against Gvozdyk, gets also a part of that contract. You're looking at a high stakes stadium fight where both men have everything to lose in a sense. I mean, this is what we want as boxing fans.
Yeah, exactly. Because look, I like this thinking of Benavides. I hope it happens that he fights this Ukrainian guy, because it's about time he makes his own legacy too, and it's good for, like you say, it's good for boxing. It's great, and it makes it more interesting.
Huge credit to Benavides.
Yes, and it's about time other boxers are taking more risk, because this Andrade guy, for me, he was not a great fighter. For me, he was not as great as people think about him. He had a good amateur, like not amateur, the Golden Gloves, the everything that was good. But in professional, he didn't have like a really great names there. He didn't have I think the only one that he had, it was this Armenian guy that fought Triple G, and he lost like in 4 rounds. And he went 12 rounds with him, and he was dropped too. So
and he get dropped.
Yeah, and that was his only the only good name that I could find, that he was like a good name, but not great. And Andrade went to 168, and then you saw what happened. No, he was like Canelo said, horrible fighter. That's what
Folks, I'm
happens.
gonna be going.
Me,
I'm
me
gonna go
too.
tonight,
Me too.
but yeah, Canelo would have knocked Andrade's socks. I thank God Benavidez did that first because Andrade
Yeah.
was an LDBC fraud. I
Yeah.
would. For me, I want Canelo to fight Munguia because fucking Jamal Charlo hasn't earned shit. These Charlo, Newt will tell you how many times I've been on this fucking channel and ranted over Jamal Charlo.
Yeah.
I've gone blue in the face. That fucker is some fraud watch, and not only that, the 160 middleweight belt, the middleweight championship. We're just on about pure middleweight. You know, middleweight, one of the most famous divisions in boxing. That belt's been held hostage for 3 fucking years nearly now, thanks to that.
Yes.
That is a disgrace to boxing. And really, as we all say about Tank Davis as well, he'll be fighting a cherry pick in May, which will be Yawn Fest. And we'll hear all the idiots out then. With that, have a good night, folks.
Okay.
Salute, Hit Kid.
Just
Salute,
saying.
man.
I just want to say something before I leave. Yeah, he said something about the 160. Like, Janibek, he's not fighting nobody. He's fighting, like, I don't know, people that rank like 20 something and behind, but that's what makes boxing bad, having champions like that. He's not really bad.
Nobody wants to fight him, and he don't have any marketing, so
Yeah,
that's
but
why.
well, I think that's an excuse. I think if he's an ESPN boxer and they really believe on him, they could get someone like a good name, because I really don't believe that thing that that people are like running behind. I think that's like an excuse for me. I think if you're like if your company, let's say ESPN, really believes on you, they're gonna get a good they're gonna invest on you and they're gonna get a good name for you, but they're not getting that good names. So but that's what I think.
The only thing I'll say to that is with Janibek, his last fight was with Vincenzo Gutierrez or something like that, and that was a unification fight. So he unified titles with that guy. And so I'm not mad at him because his last fight, he won another belt. So now he has 2 belts. He has the WBC and not the WBC. He has the IBF and he has the WBO. So he unified belts last fight. And so now he wants to unify again. But how can he? Because Charlo has the belt, won't fight him. Charlo's holding the belt hostage. If they elevate Carlos Adames, he'd be willing to fight him, but he wants to fight for belts. He can't fight for belts. These guys don't have any belts.
Exactly. Carlos Adames was always like, hey, I'm here. But what Carlos Adames said that in sparring, he dropped Janibek. So I'm not saying it. That's Carlos Adames' voice. He said it in several interviews. So he dropped Janibek. So he said he doesn't want no part of me. So that's why I say that. That's one point that I say that, because I think when they Janibek, for me, he's really good boxer. But what I don't believe is I never believe this, that nobody wants to fight him, because anybody if could go to the ring with him, even you or me, if they offer me money, of course I go, even if I'm not a boxer. Imagine a boxer that trains and they offer him, hey, you get 500,000 and you're gonna fight Janibek. Hey, let's go at it. There, I could say a couple of them that will do it. Adames is one, and there's other boxers that will go with the name that go with Janibek. But I don't see why he doesn't get those, like, let's say the last one you said is cool, but before that, there's a couple of guys that don't even.
Let's run the tape. So the last one was a unification, so he's good on that one.
Yeah,
and then when he got the world title, Demetrius Andre refused to fight him.
Refused to fight him. Yes, that's correct.
Those are two fights you can't even consider, because I mean, Andrade refused to fight him, and he just unified. There's nobody else there. The only other champion you have, I believe, is Idislandi Lara, and
Charlo.
And Charlo. So really, the landscape is thin. And Adames doesn't have a belt, but we don't know what his financial demands are. We've heard Janibek say that Carlos Adames is easy work. So I mean, I would love to see the fight, but they need to elevate Adames to make him a champion so we can get these fights. We need unification. It's been too long at 160 where nothing's happening.
Yeah, but let's see. Carlos Adames, even if his own company, there was like Erislandy Lara for a year and 3 months that he didn't fight. He's gonna fight right now, and Charlo, he didn't get a chance with those. Imagine that with in another company. So something's weird there.
We can't put that on Top Rank. The only reason why is if
Yeah,
Carlos
exactly.
Adames
It's
is
another
aligned
company,
with
that's what I said.
PBC and he's not getting his own unifications, why we
Exactly.
mad at Top Rank? Yeah, so
PVC is the one who doesn't make the fight.
and they got these guys fighting once a year, and for Jamal Charlo,
Yeah.
he just fought one.
Exactly.
He should have
Because
already had
they have the fighters. They can fight each other, and they didn't fight each other. That's
Yeah,
what they do with Caleb Plant and David Benavidez for years. They never
Yeah.
fight.
I mean, and
They
then
fight
Demetrius,
after Canelo get undisputed, and everyone's blame Canelo. Oh, he don't want a part of Benavidez anymore. I was like, hey, if you fight 3 years before, you can run for be undisputed, David Benavidez, but he doesn't want it.
yep. And look at
Now
this.
that he's Canelo in that division with the money, oh yeah, now I want to be undisputed. All right, so
Yeah. And why did it? Why Benavidez always wanted Plant, and they were in the same company. They even went to Plant's team and they fought whatever, and he didn't even got the chance. So Benavidez always looking for a championship, but being in PBC, why did Canelo got it first? That's not Canelo's fault, but that's something that we should think about. That PBC
because the Plant and Benavidez, they didn't work the same money than Canelo.
Well, even aside from that, Samson, who's David Benavidez's own promoter,
okay,
came out and said back then that he wanted to take more time with Benavidez before he was going to fight Caleb Plant. He was not trying to rush him into a Caleb Plant unification fight. They had two.
They want to marinate the fight, right?
Exactly. And so because they were trying to get the most money. So Benavidez was in no rush to unify 168. He passed on an opportunity to fight Caleb Plant when he was a world champion. And so
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Also, he passed
it. Hey, Plant, win, draw, or lose, he fights. Plant.
He does.
That's why I like Caleb Plant because of that. No matter what happened, he fights.
He's a throwback fighter. I respect that from him. My brother Severcedo Music says, Nuke, let's recall what they said to Canelo when he went up to fight Kovalev, and they called that a cherry pick, but they're sucking up to David for finally moving up in weight. So Canelo moved up in weight, fought Sergey Kovalev, who just came off of 2 knockout wins against undefeated fighters for a world title. But then Benavidez is moving up to fight a same age, Oleksandr Gvozdyk, and they're praising it. So that is a little bit bad because I thought Canelo Alvarez moving up 2 weight classes to fight Kovalev was worthy, was a great fight. I mean, Canelo's undersized and beat a world champion. Give him respect.
It was a champion.
Exactly.
And he just came about a big win with Anthony Yard.
Yeah, Anthony Yard, and before that he fought I believe he fought a Colombian. I cannot think of his name.
I like that picture of Cervecero Music. I like that picture. I'm from Mexico. I love that picture. I know who they are. And the name too.
And so Kovalev had just came off of 2 knockout wins. So I mean, and he's a world champion, and I believe he was 36 at the time.
Yeah.
Nobody had a problem with it. But I also understand that what people like to do is anytime Canelo does something, they like to hate.
Exactly. That's for me. That doesn't, that people are, it's good for us. For me, like if people think like that, they're all gonna, I don't know. It doesn't bother me, but let's say, irritates me the way they think, but not me. But it's like, why do they think like that? But I don't know. I don't go too much to that mind counting they have because of
this channel, Nuke, make it clear. You have to be the same. You have to use the same energy for every fucking fighter. Either you like it or if you are a fan or not fan, you have to keep the same fucking energy with every fighter.
Exactly.
They have to use the same if you're gonna judge Canelo for something, okay, judge the other fighters, any fucking fighter that you want to mention it.
Now,
But
Vigilante.
this is the problem. They didn't do the same thing with everyone. They just want to
Exactly.
do it because me they okay. Maybe I'm sorry if he. I think everything is about the race because he's Mexican, and they didn't want to be the Mexican top dog in the fucking boxing. Period.
But
That's how
you
I
know
think.
what?
And I agree with that. I mean, because look at Tank. Tank gets no criticism, but Canelo gets it all. And the only difference is Canelo's Mexican and he's done everything. But they're already elevating Tank Davis on a pound for pound list for beating Ryan Garcia, who never won a world title. Make that make sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Vigilante says, I'm a big Canelo fan. He's a legend no matter what. But Canelo swerving David, I guess he's saying he's ducking David, does seem kind of weird, honestly. If he never fights him, it's going to be a duck. So my whole thing is, I don't believe this is a swerve. I remember Canelo Alvarez, David Benavidez never exercised his mandatory against Canelo. So he never said, I'm forcing Canelo to negotiate and fight me now or drop his belt. He's not doing that. And Eddie Reynoso manages Oleksandr Gvozdyk. So at the end of the day, he's already working with Team Canelo. They're setting up a major fight for September. Now, if that fight doesn't happen in September and Canelo says, I'm never going to fight him, fine. You're right. But as of right now, we can't say that. Canelo said out of his own mouth that he said, when you wait longer, it makes the fight bigger. That's what Canelo said. Yeah. So we got to be honest. We know the fight is likely to happen in September. And if it doesn't, then we can criticize.
IBFP, you know what I think? Because, before we used to have Showtime and HBO. And in Mexico, the only transmitter was Televisa. There was no TV Azteca, no other channels, and there were no other channels. So right now, there's like ESPN, Danza, and all the other YouTubers, like all the YouTubers. So let's say Televisa don't like Canelo because they don't have it anymore. TV Azteca has Canelo. So they're gonna talk bad about Canelo. Pro Box, they wish they had a Canelo so they could speak a favor of Canelo. And I think that's the thing, because when there was Julio Cesar Chavez, he lost against Oscar de la Hoya, and his next fight was the next fighter had 29 losses after Oscar de la Hoya. Imagine if this would have happened right now with all those TV networks, PBC, blah, blah, blah. And what would happen if Canelo lost B-Ball and go with a 29 lost boxer, So that's what I think right now about. It's about the TV networks. There are so many, like they say, there's so many belts, whatever. I don't care of the belts. I don't care if there's a lot of belts, because it's boxing. If you like boxing, we're gonna watch it. So I think it's about those things, about the TV networks. If and there's only one boxer, Canelo, so he's gonna get all the criticism, because there are other TV networks that wish they had Canelo, because he's the only one that created a legacy for him. And the truth is right now that he's the number one. Everybody is looking for information about Canelo, who's he's fighting, whatever. And the other boxers, nobody cares about the other boxers. So that's why the other boxers should be creating their own legacy like Canelo did. And that's the point I want to say about Canelo.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this. This guy says IBFP is a Canelo meat writer. You block anyone who doesn't agree with you, like Boxing Ego, you the same. I'm the same, but you not blocked. I read your trash comment and look how stupid you look. Like, if I was like Ego, I would have blocked your dumb ass. Like, what are you talking about?
And you have the link, and he could come in.
Hey, you feeling froggy? Just click that link. You can jump on anytime. I'll destroy you. He said, you said if Canelo didn't fight David Benavidez, he's a duck. Say it. I said if he didn't fight him in 2024, dumbass, learn to read. Learn to read. He has the entire year to fight him. David never forced a mandatory. They've already been talking about September. Jose Benavidez Sr. said September 2024 looks likely. Mauricio Suleiman said both teams are working toward a September date. And now the fight's not happening in May, and you want to call it a duck when everybody around the fight has said September is the most likely time. Is this guy a dummy? First of all, take them nuts out of your mouth before you comment again or click the link. That's the problem with these guys. Talk all this shit to them. You block. Why would I need to block a dumbass? You easy to body bag. You easy to body bag.
Exactly.
Oh my God, this might be this generation. Floyd Pack, build it up. Yep. What's up, Carlos?
They have a double standard. Oh, it's always gonna be double standard in Canelo Alvarez. No matter what we prove with facts, they're gonna disgrace this guy. I mean, no matter what he do, it's always gonna be something. You remember when David Benavidez was about to fight the mandatory Abney Gildirim? Everyone, the narrative was it's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a good fight. Benavidez Gildirim, good fight. When Canelo was the guy who fought Gildirim, it was a nobody. Yeah, he ended being a nobody because he fought Canelo. But why it was a good fighter, a good fight with Benavidez when they thought Benavidez gonna make weight? It's a double standard. I mean,
it is. And
you remember that fight, right? Yeah, it's obviously we all remember that.
Yep.
Everyone say, "Oh, if David Benavidez beat, I don't remember Angulo. What was that guy? Oh, he's gonna fight against Gildirim the next fight. He lost the belt in the scale, and then Canelo fight Gildirim. Oh, he's a cherry pick. But why everyone say, oh, it's gonna be a good fight against Benavidez?
Yep.
As soon as Canelo picked him, you know what? I would love to Canelo fight Charlo. You know why? Because the fucking Charlos. I don't hate the Charlos. I hate they talking shit and they don't back it up. They've been talking for years. And now when there's a chance, when they can be if Yamar Charlo wanted a fight, okay, as soon as Canelo picked his brother, I'm gonna get back in the gym. I'm gonna prove that I deserve a fight. But he didn't want the smoke. He's just like, no, I'm gonna be drinking and do whatever to don't fight. That's why I would love the fight because I want to prove both Charlos. They're like, that's why you want me to fight you guys? That's why you want me to fight you. You've been running around the ring?
Yep. Hold on 1 second. Mike, you want to drop your comment? What's good?
Hey, what up, Noob? Sorry, my audio wasn't working earlier. I couldn't unmute myself. Man, I think it's a pretty good fight with Gvozdyk as far as David Benavidez. It gives him options, right? Whether he wants to execute his mandatory for Canelo maybe in September or sometime later, or he's obviously got maybe the mandatory status against Beterbiev and Bivol. Although I don't know if there's a rematch clause on that fight. You would think that fight being as big as it is, two Russian fighters, fighting for undisputed in Saudi Arabia, they would probably have some type of rematch clause. So that might not be available right away.
That's true.
It's a good fight. If I had to guess what I believe Canelo's original plan was, I wholeheartedly believe that he wanted to fight Charlo in May and then fight Munguia in September. And I saw some interviews that Eddie Reynoso did where he was stating that Canelo wanted to fight 3 times this year. Obviously, he has the 2 fights left with PBC. And then he made mention of Canelo wanting to fight in Saudi Arabia. So this is just my own personal theory. I don't have anything to back it up. But I thought that maybe, if the Saudis, because he did say he wanted to fight in Saudi Arabia, so if the Saudis were willing to put up big numbers for Canelo and Benavidez to fight in Saudi Arabia, that he would probably want to do that as the 3rd fight of his year, maybe in December, whatever, or maybe early next year.
That would have been great too. I mean, it could, because then him and Benavidez would have reached terms and agreed to some type of deal to make that happen. But people are being so impatient. They just want to say, if it doesn't happen today, it's a duck.
No.
Hey, Nuke, the interview, the Eddie Reynoso says he wanted to fight. Canelo wanted to fight in December,
Right.
and they take it off the what's Terrence Crawford. They say they don't want to fight Terrence Crawford. So the only three fighters left, and he want to fight three times. So that means, I mean, to me, I was thinking, if they think it to fight three times, and they have three fighters left, they want to fight all three. That's what he said in Spanish in the interview. That's what he
Yeah.
said. He said, "Hey, we want to fight in May. We want to fight in September. And depending on what happened on the fight, if we don't have any injuries or nothing like that, he wanted to fight in December in Saudi Arabia." And the three fighters that they mention it is they want Jamar Charlo because they already give them Jamar Charlo to a contract, but they
Exactly. That
say
was on the
they don't
contract. Yeah.
think they don't think they're gonna sell much. That's why they are, doubting.
Yeah.
And
That
then
makes sense.
Munguia and then Benavides. But the fight they say they're gonna make it this year. They plan it to make it this year.
Let me address this guy real quick. So I already dropped the link. Vibe OG, you said you got all these problems, but I dropped the link and I don't see you nowhere. It looked like it looked like you lost your nuts. I mean, look, you still commenting. I'm blocked. This idiot. This is my boyfriend's phone. Y'all hate to hear the truth. I like Canelo myself. You fools. Okay, well, click the link and explain it. Look at him. He won't even do it. I didn't drop the whole link for you, boy, and you won't even click it. I think that's the problem with these guys. All of this stuff, I dropped the link, and yet you don't click it. I mean, look at this guy. Canelo should retire, but he won't click a link. I really don't understand these guys are goofy. It doesn't make any sense. These guys are clowns. All these guys do is kiss each other's ass. Look, keep making excuse for click the link and tell me to my face. That not the simplest way to do this? And yet he's still not clicking. That's just what I'm saying. I'm just seeing crickets. I mean, nothing. You won't click a link. I mean, it just really doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. That's all I want to just click the link, bro. Click the link and we can go ahead and destroy this whole talk right now. We can clear all this up. Don't have to be no back and forth. You can just sit on here and tell me what a fanboy I am and how I'm a coward and all of it. Just click the link. It's real easy. It's real easy. I smell coochie. So
That's
if
the
you
thing
want
that's different. That's the thing that's different about you, Nuke, versus the other channels is you're accessible. You make yourself accessible, and you're willing to engage and debate with your listeners and even with the haters or people that just have other opinions, versus all those other channels that love to spin narratives, and they don't ever have these kind of live streams where they allow people to just join and speak their piece.
and that's what makes me feel good is that people recognize this. Ego ain't never dropped a link for nobody. Nobody.
Exactly.
The man's a coward. And David Benavidez, it just been reported that he's confirming on Instagram that he'll be moving up to 175. And he says, I'm very excited to announce that I will have the opportunity to fight for the WBC interim title at 175 in June. Let's freaking go. So you can see that David Benavidez, he's announcing it. He's ready to go. It looks like it's official. So I'm cool with it. I mean, everybody's on board, and this guy still ain't clicked the link. But you say I blocked you. You say I'm a hater. You say I'm a fanboy, but you won't click a link. That's what's so sad. We can engage in a healthy boxing debate because he's seen everybody get destroyed that came up here with that bullshit. He won't do it because he's a pussy. That's the problem with these guys, man. I'm gonna let you guys go. We got this in, and we'll get another one in. You guys want to, Carlos? You got any last words for everybody?
No, I say, hey, salute to everyone who's coming to watch the channel and keep doing the same thing, man. The same energy all the time. I have the same energy even when my fighters that I'm a fan. I'm a fan of boxing first before someone, you know. So you do a great job, and I appreciate the content that you putting on.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Mike S., you want to say anything before we get up out of here?
Nothing much to say. Just keep up the great work. Let's see how this all unfolds. I'm excited, for the David Benavidez fight, and whether Canelo fights Munguia or Charlo. I think either one of those two options will be an exciting matchup, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get the Benavidez fight. If not in September, then later in the year.
Perfect.
And everybody will have to shut up and tune in.
Absolutely. Salute to everybody for joining the chat and everybody supporting IBF. Salute, and keep that same energy.